everyone. Welcome to another episode of Tech Tides. My name is Nitin and I will be your host for today. Today, we'll be discussing about India's booming data center industry. Billions are being invested, and India is being projected as next big data center hub of the world. The real question here is, are we the growth story that we are hearing, is it sustainable growth, or is it something that we are staring at over capacity or over capacity crisis? To demystify this question, I have with me my colleague Kapil Baghel. So Kapil Baghel is an industry expert who has been closely tracking the evolution of data center market in India. Welcome to the show, Kapil.
Thanks for having me, Nitin. It's always nice to talk to you. So being an analyst in the cloud and DC space, right, from almost a decade, this topic has been, fascinating for me. So let's discuss it.
Yeah, great. So good to have you on this show, Kapil. Kapil, as I said, data center industry in India is booming. But unlike the traditional markets, be it something like Singapore or Frankfurt, our growth story, I believe, has a different dynamics. What do you think sets India apart?
So that's a great starting point, Nitin. If we look closely to the DC space globally, so most of the global data center hubs like Singapore, Amsterdam, or even Tokyo, so they have grown because they serve as a regional data hubs, primarily handling cross-border traffic for multiple countries. But if you look at India's case is very, very different. Our data center demand, is significantly driven by domestic digital consumption as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're not just building data center to serve global cloud providers like AWS or Azure for that matter. We're also building because India itself is a massive, data consuming market. Mm-hmm. So let me just put, things into perspective by showing you a couple of examples here, the trends. If you look at, digital explosion, it has been one of the major trends. Just to give you a perspective, India already has more than 850 million internet users, right? And the number is still growing. So think about this. Almost 70% of, internet users in India are mobile first. So what happens is if more mobile is used, more video streaming, right? Mm-hmm. And with that, fintech transactions also happen. With that, e-commerce also. So all of which, transcends to more and more data center capacity. For example, YouTube alone in India, they stream around 1 billion hours of video on daily basis. So that's a huge, amount of data that needs to be, stored or processed for that matter. And apart from that, rise of AI and cloud also is a significant trend. So all of us know that, right? We are now entering the era of AI and GenAI, or rather, I should say, we are already in the era of GenAI. And if I talk about the workloads, AI and GenAI workload require 4 to 5x, times more computing power than traditional cloud applications. And that generally means is, hyperscalers like AWS, Google, Microsoft, they need to expand massively in India. So that is providing impetus to your, DC capacity. And what is the result here? India's DC capacity is expected to, almost triple in next 5 years. So which would be more than 3.5 gigawatt by 2030. So, that means over 15 billion is being invested in new data center capacity over the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. So all in all, India is not just another DC hub. We are going to become a self-sustaining, digital economy where local demand is actually driving the India's growth story. So I hope this answers the question for Nitin.
Yeah, it absolutely does, Kapil. That sounds like a rock solid foundation where we are seeing a domestic demand for data center industry. So since you said that there are multiple factors which are driving the data center growth in India, uh, let's just talk about the risk. See, if we take a country like China, uh, China has overbuilt data centers, but at this point of time, most of its data centers are sitting idle or underutilized. Could India face the same kind of situation with so much investment pouring in? Is there a risk of overcapacity that you foresee?
Well, then I think you have raised a very pertinent point here. That could actually be a very real concern, right? Just to understand more, let's take a quick look at China's case for that matter.
Mhm.
Between 2018 to 2022, China's tier 2 cities, built too many data centers, but at a very rapid pace, which actually resulted in, for example, rack utilization significantly dropped. It even went down to, below 50% in some areas. Because of that, operators had to slash prices just to, stay competitive or stay afloat. But, there's a very important caveat there. All of this happened before the era of AI, right? I don't know if AI was there earlier, the case could be completely different, right?
Yeah.
So let's get back to India. So India, as of now, is in a very good position, but we still need to be careful from that perspective. So there's surely a couple of concerns, such as huge pipeline of new data centers. Right now, you see almost 3,500 megawatt of capacity is being planned or built across India. In addition to that, if you see, some of the players are building without anchor tenants or anchor clients, which is kind of a very risky proposition. So these concerns, somewhat indicate towards overcapacity crisis, which happened in China, like in the near future. But in my personal opinion, that is not going to happen because as I said earlier, we have a new beast in the town called AI GenAI. The DC capacity, which would be fueled by AI or GenAI, it will completely absorb the additional supply. That would be my opinion here. As we discussed, right, AI workloads require significantly more power and storage than traditional cloud applications.
Mhm.
AI demand alone would add around 1 gigawatt of new capacity in India over the next 5 years. So yes, there's a risky short-term oversupply, but given the AI's trajectory, right, the supply may actually fall short in the next 5 to 7 years. So that would be my take to your question, Nitin.
Okay. So that's an interesting take, Kapil. So that is one aspect. Another aspect is about the hyperscalers. Earlier, these hyperscalers were heavily depending on the colocation providers to expand in India. But today the situation has changed. They are building their own data centers. Uh, does this mean that they are completely moving away from the colocation space? And can we say that are hyperscalers moving away from colocation in India? Can we infer something like this?
Nitin, this is a very interesting question to look at. However, considering last couple of years, there's definitely an increase in hyperscaler investment towards self build capacity. When I say self build capacity, it means that they are investing in uh, and creating their own data centers. Now, let's say, for example, Google has done that in Hyderabad. Even AWS has done that in Hyderabad, right? However, in my opinion, this is just a tip of the iceberg in terms of overall DC capacity requirement in India. So I would say hyperscalers are definitely expanding their own infrastructure, but they can't move away from co-location, right? At
Okay.
least not in the next 10 years. So if you see the demand of AI, cloud, and digital services is growing way too fast,
Mm-hmm.
and building DCs in India isn't easy at all. Primarily because of a few very intrinsic challenges that India has. Let me just talk about a couple of them, right? first and foremost, land acquisition in India could be a nightmare, if you don't have the right connects. Finding large, well-connected land parcels in places like Mumbai or Chennai is both very expensive and also tedious most of the times. But even if they're able to secure land somehow, right, getting the approval from authorities can take many years. And on top of that, you have the problem of power availability, right? Hyperscale data centers need at least 100 to 150 megawatt of power, and India's grid, isn't reliable as of now, especially in the regions like Noida or Pune. So they'll have to manage that as well. So for hyperscalers, it's definitely not an easy task, to first build and then manage their own DC facilities. Getting a point? So that's why I would say, leasing from co-location provider would still remain a very important, and key strategic part of their DC capacity expansion strategy. So to conclude here, I would say they will build their own capacities in select locations where, for example, everything is aligned, right? Land, power, or approvals. But for majority of the capacity requirements, they would still go to the co-location service providers. So I hope that is clear. So that would be my take for this question.
Okay, great perspective there, Kapil. I think it is, as you rightly said, it will be a case-to-case basis and a mix and match of using co-location providers for their requirements and hyperscalers building their own data center capacity as well. So I think more or less we got the gist of where the data center market of India is heading. Thank you for giving those valuable inputs. We really value your expertise here. I certainly look forward to have you on many more TechTide episodes. Thank you again, Kapil, for your time for this episode.
Thanks a lot, Nitin. It was lovely speaking to you.
Yeah, thank you, Kapil. So by this, we conclude the episode. And to our viewers, I hope that this gives them as a short glimpse as to what where the data center market is heading in India. Stay with us for many such episodes on tech tides, which are intriguing and interesting as well. Thank you, everyone, for your time.